Last week during Washington Commanders mandatory minicamp, wide receiver Noah Brown went down with an injury, an apparent lower body injury, and was carted off the field. And then the final day of mandatory minicamp, head coach Dan Quinn had no answers for us in terms of the extent of the injury. So right now there's a lot of question marks surrounding Noah Brown and his future with the Washington Commanders heading into the 2025 season. So on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the top wide receiver target options for the Washington Commanders that are currently on the free agency and trade markets, that if the Washington Commanders feel like they want to add another wide receiver here, if Noah Brown is out for the season or out for a significant amount of time here, that they can go out and target. Before we get into the content today, if you want to wish Noah a speedy recovery, you guys can click that thumbs up icon. It also helps out our channel. We want to send some positive vibes to number 85 today, so kick us off here by clicking that thumbs up icon. So first here, I just want to say this up front. Hopefully Noah's okay, all right? We don't know the full extent of the injury yet, and for all we know, it's just, maybe a little sprain here, and he's going to be perfectly fine by the time that we get to Commanders training camp at the end of July. But, the ambiguity and the mystery of the situation right now at least begs the question, will they get another wide receiver? And if Noah Brown is out for an extended period of time, I think a big question to address right off the top here is, do the Washington Commanders even need to get another wide receiver? And I think this is a very valid question. They do have Terry McLaurin under contract right now. They are still trying to figure out his contract situation. I do expect them to come to a deal with Scary Terry before the start of the season. Of course, you traded for Deebo Samuel this year. He's going to be your number 2. Then outside of Noah Brown, I would expect Luke McCaffrey or Jalen Lane, maybe Michael Gallup, maybe KJ Osborne steps up into that number 3 wide receiver role. I can say right now Luke McCaffrey had a really good mandatory minicamp. I can say right now that Commanders coaches have been very impressed with Jalen Lane's speed that he has brought to the table. But if you lose Noah Brown, you're definitely turning to somebody that really hasn't been proven yet as a starting level wide receiver at the NFL level on a team that is trying to win now and trying to capitalize on Jaden Daniels' rookie contract. So let me know, what do you guys think down there in the comments section? If the Noah Brown injury is serious and he's going to have to miss a significant amount of time, if not the whole season, does Washington need to sign another wide receiver, or are you good with the players that they already have in the wide receiver room? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question with a yes or a no. So I think the easiest way to replace Noah Brown would be in free agency. We'll talk about some trade options here in just a second, but I think in free agency there's still 2 very good route running type of wide receivers that could fill Noah Brown's role in this offense very easily if the Commanders wanted to turn to them, and you don't have to give up draft capital in order to get them in your building. Those 2 guys are Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen. Now, I know what a lot of you guys at home are saying right now. Jack, Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen, they're completely washed. They stink. They are done, which is why nobody else has signed them in NFL free agency to this point. Well, I would push back on that a little bit. Amari Cooper did take a step back last year with both the Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills, respectively. You guys can see back in 2023, just 2 years ago with the Cleveland Browns, over 1,200 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns on 72 receptions. 2022, very similar type of workload. And then in 2024, he had a drop issue in Cleveland. Then he goes to Buffalo, and he has some good games and some good moments. He was actually very efficient there in Buffalo. He just didn't get the football all that often, and as a result, he didn't even get to 600 yards last year. He did get 4 touchdowns, which is noteworthy. But then you look at Keenan Allen, another guy that took a big step backwards after a really good 2023 campaign, his final season there with the Los Angeles Chargers, where he had over 1,200 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. Still had 7 tuds last year with the Chicago Bears, but the yardage and the receptions went down significantly. But to be fair to Keenan, other top receivers in that Bears offense, like DJ Moore, also had a significant decrease in their production, because let's face it, that Bears offense was a complete joke last year. You compare the stats between Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper last season, Keenan Allen definitely has the better production overall. I will say the efficiency from Cooper, you can make an argument, was better. He had the better PFF grade, the better yards per target number, and then after Cooper went to Buffalo, his efficiency numbers really went through the roof. So between these 2 guys, I would probably prefer Amari Cooper. He still has lightning quick feet at his size. He's still a really good route runner, very similar type of receiver to Noah Brown, and I think if you need to replace him, Amari Cooper is the guy that would be my preference, but I would be perfectly fine getting Keenan Allen as well. So if you had to choose between these these two bigger veteran type of wide receivers to replace Noah Brown in this Commanders offense. Who are you bringing on? Type AC for Amari Cooper, type KA for Keenan Allen. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Ridge. And while I'm telling you about our sponsor today, go down there in the comment section and answer today's question. Now let's talk a little bit here about our sponsor today, which is Ridge. And Ridge isn't just about wallets, guys, even though that is what they are known for. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and rings, all built with the same sleek, durable design. I personally have the Ridge wallet, and I love its unique, slim, and modern design, which carries up to 12 cards. It's also super durable, and it's made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. And no matter what Ridge product you end up choosing, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all of their products. They also have branded products, guys, so you can get a Commanders logo on your Ridge wallet. I got my Ridge wallet with the promotion that we're doing with Ridge, and let me tell you guys, I threw my old, kind of grungy, little, leather wallet in the garbage, all right? Because those kinds of wallets, they get super thick. It creates a super weird bulge in your pants there that, maybe you don't want people looking at. But the Ridge wallet, super, super thick. So my producer's absolutely losing his mind over here. But for a limited time only, guys, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code CHAT at checkout. Just head on over to ridge.com and use code CHAT, and you're all set. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Big shout out to Ridge for sponsoring today's edition of the Commanders Report. So now let's talk about trade options here. Like I said, I would probably prefer just to go to free agency and get either Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. But there are some options available on the trade market at this point in the offseason that the Commanders could potentially look at. These are probably the more unlikely type of players, but these are probably, the first tier of receivers that I could see getting dealt. Our Miami Dolphins host, Nick Roloff here at Chat Sports, says he would get rid of Tyreek Hill for a third-round pick tomorrow. So that's something to consider there if you're the Washington Commanders, with Tyreek being that good of a receiver still, even though he's getting older. Brandon Ayuk with the 49ers, he's causing some trouble once again on social media this offseason. I think the 49ers would probably want Terry McLaurin in exchange in a trade, which is not something I'm willing to entertain. But keep in mind, Brandon Ayuk is a really good friend of Jaden Daniels. Then Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce are two Colts wide receivers, where if the Colts want to unload one of their receivers, they got four really good players. They got Michael Pittman, they've got Alec Pierce, they drafted Adonai Mitchell at Texas last year, and then Josh Downs, a really good slot receiver. If they wanted to unload Michael Pittman Jr. or Alec Pierce so that Adonai Mitchell can assume a full-time starting role, I would certainly be in on either Pittman or Pierce. But some more realistic trade targets here. We'll start with Kayshon Boutte from the New England Patriots. And the reason why Boutte makes this list here and why he's at the top of the list, and the first name that I'm mentioning here, is because he played college football with Washington Commander quarterback Jaden Daniels. They were college teammates, and now Boutte is somebody that did have some off-field issues. He's had some drop inconsistencies. He even showed that last year with the New England Patriots. But Boutte also showed some good things with the Pats last year in a very depleted wide receiver room. He got a chance to start late in the season with Drake May throwing him passes, and he had more yards than Amari Cooper last year, 3 touchdowns, and he averaged 13.7 yards per catch on 43 receptions. So he put up a pretty decent stat line in his rookie season. Still had some contested catch and drop issues last year that are going to have to be figured out in the years to come, but he's definitely very, very talented, and somebody from this wide receiver room here for the New England Patriots, guys, has got to go. All right, you bring in Stephon Diggs, you draft Kyle Williams. He's expected to take a big role for them this year. Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas, a really good slot wide receiver. They got a lot of really young wide receivers here. You got Boutte, you got Jalen Polk, who they drafted very early on last year, Javon Baker. They brought in Efton Chisholm the third, really good yak threat as a UDFA this year. So they got a lot of pieces in that wide receiver room. Not all of them can make the final roster. So maybe if they're willing to let go of Boutte, and he already has established chemistry with Jaden Daniels, I don't think he would cost that much, maybe a 7th-round pick to acquire. So if you're going to trade for somebody, Boutte has to be considered. And then you get to some veteran type of players. We'll go with Adam Thielen and Jalen Coker, two players that are very similar for the Carolina Panthers, where they're more slot specialists, but they can play outside. They're bigger bodies. abilities. Maybe not the most athletic, freaky type of players out there, but they're technically sound. They have good hands, and they're very dependable. Now, the reason why I think that the Carolina might be willing to let go of one of these guys in a trade is because their skill sets are pretty redundant. And personally, guys, I do think that Adam Thielen would probably be the guy that they would prefer to let go of because Coker has a little bit of a future, whereas Thielen is at the end of his NFL journey. And if they want to give Thielen a chance to try and win a Super Bowl before he retires, Washington is certainly a place where he could give himself a chance to do that. Just like the Patriots, the Panthers' wide receiver room is pretty darn deep at this point. They've got 8 guys that could potentially make the roster. They brought in some really good late-round receivers this year that I really like in Jimmy Horn Jr. and Kobe Hudson. So if you want to get rid of Adam Thielen, you get a draft pick for the future. Jalen Coker can absolutely play that slot wide receiver role here with the Carolina Panthers, and I think that they would definitely entertain a trade for Thielen if the price is right. Then a couple of Green Bay Packer wide receivers to consider. Romeo Doubs, formerly with the Nevada Wildcats. He's been pretty darn productive. He's a good route runner, good body size too, kind of similar to Noah Brown in that way. Also Dontavian Wicks, another big body route runner with a little bit of a drop issue. I would prefer Romeo Doubs, and I would even pay a slightly higher price tag to be able to get him as opposed to Wicks, who's really had some drop issues in the past. Doubs has some really big hands, so I think his kind of ball skills type of issues are more fixable than Wicks's are. But then Tampa Bay, another team that could be looking to unload one of their young wide receivers. They just drafted Emeka Egbuka and Tez Johnson in the NFL draft this year. Jalen McMillan was a relatively high draft pick for them last year, had a good rookie season, but after drafting Emeka Egbuka and still having Chris Godwin on the roster, you can argue that McMillan's skill set is now redundant, and they could flip him for a decent draft pick. Then Trey Palmer is a speed threat, one of the fastest players in the National Football League, 190 pounds, a decent route runner. I wouldn't say an elite route runner, but certainly good enough with his speed, decent hands as well, and really good after the catch. John Mechie, a really good route runner from the Houston Texans. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play, but there's been some really good stuff that we've seen from him in the time that he has played. Really good run blocker for his size as well. If you're looking for like a true yak threat, I think Quentin Johnston from the Los Angeles Chargers is somebody that might be worth making a call on. He's really good after the catch, and he's had some drop issues. There's no doubt about that. Not the best contested catch guy. With him, I like to say he looks like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane, where he's not very physical at the catch point whatsoever. He's very much a manufactured, wide receiver screen threat. Could be a fit with Cliff Kingsbury's offense here in Washington. Then Parker Washington with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Really liked Washington's game coming out of Penn State a few seasons ago, and showed some good things with Jacksonville last year once Christian Kirk went down with an injury. So these are the guys that you could potentially look to trade for, but shout out your guy down there in the comments section. Which wide receiver do you want to see the Commanders get? That is, if Noah Brown goes down and, this is a serious injury. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate you guys stopping by today on the Commanders Report. We'll have more Commanders content for you guys later in the week, so make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss any of those videos.